Welcome to Miles of Books, a book-centric show to take along on your run from another mother runner in Feisty. I'm your host, Sarah Bowen Shea, and Coach Liz Waterstraat is my co-host to talk about a best-selling nonfiction book. Hello there, Liz.
Hi, Sarah.
All right, we are talking about Beyond Belief, the science-backed way to stop limiting yourself and achieve breakthrough results by the husband and wife duo of Nir Eyal and Julie Lee. And it was published just in March of this year. It was an instant New York Times bestseller. So tell us a bit about the authors, Liz.
I will, yes. So I'm going also with Nir Eyal.
Okay.
He's a former Stanford GSB lecturer. That sounds really important. A behavior exchange expert and author of two other books. I want to say I've read these somewhere in my archives of books. Hooked and Indistractable. I've definitely read Indistractable. Ooh. And between those books, they've sold over 1 million copies in 30 different languages. So he knows a thing or two about human behavior. Mm-hmm. He's also co-written this one with his wife and business partner. Just sit with that for a minute. And her name is Julie Lee, as we've said. And they've apparently worked alongside each other for 25 years while still staying married, which is a true feat of endurance, is it not? I found that almost as impressive as the neuroscience in the book.
Yeah, I would not be loving that situation. It's enough that both my husband and I work from home and we're on separate floors. Enough said.
Just same here. But could you ever imagine writing a book with your husband? What would you even write about, and how would that work, and who at the end of it would be doing most of the work?
Or who would get the final say when there was a disagreement?
I'm on the last chapter. I'm writing the epilogue. No, I'm writing the footnotes. No, I'm writing the appendices.
Yeah, whoever writes a book with me can take the footnote and the appendices, okay? Thankfully, Run Like a Mother and subsequent books did not have footnotes and appendices. But what is this book's big idea?
The big idea is that beliefs are not facts. They're tools. And most of us are walking around with a full toolbox of beliefs that we've inherited somewhere along the way, and we've never stopped to question them. And so the book is organized around what he calls the 3 powers of belief. And the first one is attention, which is what you see. And the second is anticipation, what you feel before something happens. And the third is agency, what you believe you can control. And when you change those 3 things, you can actually change what you're capable of. And it's a very simple concept, but it's harder than it sounds. And Eyal spends the whole book proving it with science, which is really the reason why I bought it, because you know what? I don't like fluff books filled with antidotes, and that's...
Have I ever noticed that before there?
Wait a second. I made a major flub of the English language. Anecdotes, not antidotes. Totally different book.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, yes.
All right, so Sarah, before I get into the research in this book and the neuroscience, when you hear the phrase limiting beliefs, what's the first one that comes up for you personally? Is there one that tends to show up most reliably and it just sort of ruins your day?
I am just going to confess right here. The first one that immediately springs to my mind is that I am a technical moron. And this belief dates back to my PSAT days in high school, where you had to fill out a very exhaustive survey about, your abilities in different things and whether you thought you were like exceedingly above average, below average, really in the dumpster. And the only one that I put for below average, and I might have even checked the bottom one, was tech stuff. And so, yeah, and it's still manifesting itself to this very moment in my role at Feisty, being phobic about jumping into using Canva, okay, the design, app, okay, which I remember friends of mine being like, oh my gosh, I love Canva, it's so much fun. And, but that said, Feisty does use Slack, and so there was no debating that. I jumped in with both feet, and I adore it. I have so much fun on it, but still, it's been, coming up on 2 months now, and I definitely still am learning the tricks. So, yeah.
Nice. Canva and
Yeah.
Slack, you are setting that bar low. You're just going to clear the bar, and then we're going to get into things like online banking and the calculator on our phone.
I'm down with all that. All right. Okay, let's leave that there because it's time for a quick sponsor break, and Liz will dive into this book as soon as we return. Okay, Liz, lay some wisdom that you learned from this book on us.
All right, the first thing I learned is that discomfort comes before motivation and not after. So Eyal is saying that motivation doesn't show up first. And he called on some research from Sean Mackey, who's Stanford's Division of Pain Medicine. And he says that pain is a great motivator, and motivation is literally a system for managing discomfort. So think of it as when we avoid a workout, we're not failing to find the motivation, we're avoiding the anticipated discomfort. And he also calls upon some research from Ethan Kross, who wrote the book Chatter, one of my favorite books on self-talk, which we might talk about in an upcoming Miles of Books.
Yeah.
Kross found that anticipatory anxiety is almost always worse than the thing itself. So every time you skip a workout because you dread it, you're just strengthening that neural negative association, and your worrying is worse than the thing actually will be. So the avoidance is creating the cycle that makes the next attempt to do that discomfortable thing even harder. So if you're avoiding the alarm, like the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., and you don't get up, neurologically, you're making it worse every single time you do that.
Yeah, preach to that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is every athlete who's lying in bed at 5 a.m. negotiating with themselves and the alarm clock. That dread is doing more damage than the workout ever would. And, you know, Sarah, I don't experience this because I do not wake up at 5 a.m. That is just not my zone of comfort or wakefulness. But I understand that is when you are in the zone. So,
It is.
What is your personal 5 a.m. story?
I am such a morning lark. I love particularly this time of year when there's daylight, and I literally hit the ground running when it's oftentimes before my alarm goes off. And I've always been like that. I mean, I was thinking about just the other day in college, I loved taking an 8 a.m. class, a 9 a.m. class, and then usually an 11:20 class. And I had several 8 a.m. professors thank me at the end of the semester for being like the only student who talked in class. And I was like, oh yeah, I've already been at rowing practice. So like, this is the middle of the day for me. And I don't know, I just have a lot of energy. Don't ask me to, go play pickleball with you at 9 p.m. Like, that's not when I am going to function. But I just am up and at 'em, and hitting the snooze, I've probably done that literally a handful of times in my life. That is just not my MO.
You're a morning an early bird. Is that what they're called? Early birds?
Yes.
Night owls, early bird. Okay. I'm not really an early bird. Although my aura tells me otherwise. My aura ring tells me I am, and I'm not. I'm like, stop it. Stop insisting that I am best at 4:30 a.m. This is nonsense. Number 2, your anticipation unlocks or locks hidden physical capability. So he talks about this research where the researchers secretly modified clocks so cyclists thought they'd been riding less time than they actually had been riding, and they were able to persist significantly longer before exhaustion. So their bodies were actually capable of more the entire time. They just needed the right anticipation to access it. So it's really about our belief generates reality, if that makes sense. He brought up another research where a 2012 study found that cyclists told they were going slower than their actual speed maintained faster speeds with no increase in perceived exertion. So a lot of research in this space to back it up, that power of belief.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I kept thinking when I was reading about this research about this in terms of race week and how many athletes are in their head already running a bad race 5 days before the gun goes off because they're anxious or they're thinking they're not prepared enough or they're not fast enough or whatnot. So have you ever during race week found yourself sort of writing the story of the race before you even got to the start line?
Oh, all the time. My main thing pre-race is always dread, like extreme dread. And I'm not a person who experiences dread very often. It's anticipating the hurt, and I forget to anticipate the exhilaration and the joy that I'm going to feel out there. And, it's all interwoven with that exertion. So in my mind, I just remember the pain, not the pleasure. And so that, in those days leading up to the race, I think, why did I do this? Why did I sign up for this? Like, I'm the one who put myself in this situation, and I daydream about not doing the race. And then, when I'm in it, yes, it is challenging, but there's also that enjoyment factor. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I somehow you have to bottle up that feeling of that, the good parts instead of just dealing with thinking about the bad parts.
Or simply revisit it during race week. That's one thing that I've started to do this year with my athletes when they write the race plan on the Monday of race week. I've started to ask them, you've crossed the finish line and you've achieved your goal. How do you feel? And to start to get them to think ahead to that success and envision it and to put themselves in it and to feel it and not just worry about how to get there.
Smart.
So the third thing, agency. Small wins are neurological and not motivational. So he says that simply telling yourself you have agency and control isn't enough. Your brain actually needs the direct evidence that change is possible. And every small victory that proves your actions matters when you're building belief that overrides what tends to be a default passivity. So if you've ever felt stuck, it's not a character flaw. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is just doing exactly what it's evolved to do, which is to default to fear in the face of uncertain outcomes. So the fix is then to anticipate all of the things that could go right and wrong in a race, and then to celebrate those small wins and use those as motivation to get there.
Fascinating. All right, let's pause for another short sponsor break. More when we return. So were there any surprises in this book for you, Liz?
Yeah, for sure. The science was really more dramatic than I expected. He tells stories of someone having surgery without anesthesia. Like, count me out. Is there some waiver I can check that says no? No. Also, and we all know what a placebo is, but there's really a lot of proof out there that placebos produce measurable physical healing and improvement. He brought up resilience studies where your resilience increased by 240 times based on the power of belief. And so when I picked up this book, I expected solid research with maybe a few good stories and studies, but this book really over-delivered. It's not just a bunch of motivational content dressed up in footnotes. You can quote me on that. It's documented, it's peer-reviewed science, and it fundamentally will change how you think about what body is capable of physically versus what the mind simply won't allow to happen.
Oh, that is seriously impressive. So go on, tell me more.
Well, he's also, when you pick up a book like this and it's dressed up in a sparkly silver cover, you think, is he just going to be all this positive, like rah-rah thinking? But he's not. He's actually aggressively anti-positive thinking, and I trusted him more because of that. So, the book explicitly...
Your BS radar was like...
Yeah, the AI radar did not go off, but we can talk about that later. The book explicitly rejects the woo-woo, let's go manifesting, just believe it and it will happen genre. We all know that. We've heard it. He feels that a useful belief has to hold up to real-world feedback and remain open to revision. So telling yourself that things will fix themselves isn't belief. It's avoidance with better branding. Isn't that great? So, no surprise here. Our athletes, runners, they don't need more toxic positivity. They just need a rigorous, practical framework. And honestly, that's what this book is.
Wow. Very awesome. Okay, so how about, I bet you have some coaching takeaways from this book?
I do. So there's a passage that I kept going back to. I dog-eared it, underlined it, took a picture of it. And it's all
had it tattooed on your forearm. Yeah.
Not yet. Paraphrasing, here's my German, Schrödinger.
Yeah. Schrödinger.
I'm not German. And the quote is, life is that which fights chaos. A seed breaks through the earth to reach sunlight. A honeybee converts random nectar into perfect hexagonal combs. And when your life feels chaotic, the messy training block, the hard season, the race that completely fell apart, the point here is that disorder is not a sign that you're failing. It's proof that you're fully immersed in life. So we don't want to go about trying to eliminate all of that mess and disorder. It's never possible. We just want to develop a productive relationship with it. And agency does not mean controlling every variable. It just means developing the beliefs that support navigating through that chaos. So I actually wrote wow next to that passage. I summarized it a bit in my own words, but that was mostly straight from the book.
Wow, I'll say it right back at you. I also
Thanks.
think that's a really important message, particularly for women to hear. And
Yes.
might I say, particularly for moms to hear. And, with social media the way it is, there can be this unhealthy striving for perfection and order, and that chaos is, evil, and keep it at bay. So I
Yes.
really feel that's important to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can people apply this? How can, women athletes apply all this goodness that you learned, all this wow-inducing, science-backed?
Yeah. My guide to wow. So I have 3 ways that you can apply this. The first would be to audit your belief before the workout. So let's say you're going into a hard run. Ask yourself, what belief am I bringing into this? Is it useful? So that way, this is going to be terrible is programming. It's not predicting. So when you do that little belief check before a hard effort, a hard run, even when you're coming back from injury, just think, what do I want to anticipate about this? Do I want to say, oh, I don't know if it's going to hurt again? Or just thinking, let's try. I have an open mind. And that shift can genuinely change the physiological outcome.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
The second one, collect your small wins deliberately. Like we already said, your brain needs evidence, not pep talks. So for athletes who feel stuck or they keep abandoning their plans, the answer isn't more fitspiration and motivation. It's looking for those smaller, winnable moments that build the neurological case that your actions matter. And hey, some days it might just be, I got up and I put on my running shoes today and I went for a walk. And that's your small win. You want to stack those up.
I think that's one thing you seem to be particularly good at in your personal athletic life, Liz.
yeah.
Like, that's the message that I heard as you were training for Ironman, a couple of years ago.
You're just trying to stack one day, one win over and over again. And that actually segues very nicely into my last point, which I thought it was really interesting. The author had, I think, an entire chapter on this, and it was reframing the master's athlete story or just the master's individual story. So the aging belief research is a gift for women in their 40s and 50s. And what he said is that what you believe about your aging body, what it can do, isn't just mental. It actually predicts your longevity better than your cholesterol. About that. Yeah. And I mean, there's proof of this all around. I mean, women are running PRs in their 40s and 50s every single day. And that's not just feel good fluff. That's what happens when you believe in the power of what your body can do and what you can do as far as changing your fitness and chasing goals.
Yeah, so just this morning, I got a text from Mother Runner who says, she was asking me about Feisty Fest. And so she was saying how, road running is her thing. She said, still killing it in road running. Came within 3 minutes of a personal best half from 2011. So that she was just, yeah. So let me do the math for you, folks. That was 15 years ago. And she was only 3 minutes behind her best from 15 years ago. And my response, holy crap, that is amazing. What's your secret? And she said cadence and lots of hill running.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Economy
so,
and strength.
Yes. And it sounds like she did not, let her beliefs limit her. So,
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Well, let's toss it back to you. Let's not talk about your friend. Is there a belief that you're carrying around right now about running or even anything else that isn't serving you? Because I think that that's what people would want to hear. They want to, hear how it connects with someone else's story, so that way they can connect it to their own story, Sarah.
I would say that, I'm totally fine with my quote-unquote speedier days being behind me. I'm 100% down with that. But I also do want there to be another marathon in my life, and that my limiting belief, my thing that keeps me back is I worry that if I put that much impact and stress on my body that it won't hold up. And that not only will I not be able to get through the training cycle, but that maybe it would spell the end of my running career, period, hands down. So I catastrophize a little bit in that one. So that the belief is my body is not resilient enough.
I bet that there are actionable things you can do to improve that resilience. And that's all I'm going to say.
And that you are a coach available for hire. Yeah. So how about a final thought about this book?
The final thought for this one is that if you feel you've had every tool you needed and you still couldn't get out of your own head, and I say that nicely because that's a lot of us at any point in life, this is definitely your book. It's worth a read. You're not going to read it page to page, night in one night, but you're going to sit down with each chapter and it will make you think, and you might even change because of it.
Well, okay, yeah. As we've been talking and as we talked about this ahead of time, I've already thought of some friends in my life who could benefit from this book. And maybe I should look in the mirror when I say that.
What's your address? Put a stamp on it.
All right, listeners, thanks for joining us. Please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts or tell your friends about our shows. Miles of Books is a production of Another Mother Runner and Feisty Media. For more on Feisty and our other shows, events, workshops, and Feisty Fest, where Coach Liz and I will both be in September, visit feisty.co. That's feisty.co.